Conversations. Glad y'all can join us today. My name is Michael. I'm one of your recovery coaches.
Once again, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Coffee Conversation. My name is Craig, one of your recovery coaches as well.
My name is Karen, also a recovery coach.
All right, so we live today for Coffee and Conversation today, and today we will be concluding or resuming a worksheet we got from addictionsandrecovery.org. You can go to their website and join. They have great material there. You can go to their website and check out some of their material. We were talking about 5 things that we were dealing with, but we're going to go over number 3.
It's not working, so.
All right. So what we did was we had 5 rules of recovery, and we're going to go over number 3. Rule number 3, which is be completely honest with yourself and everyone in your recovery circle. Be completely honest with yourself and everyone in your recovery circle. Again, thanks for tuning in to Coffee and Conversation. We are your recovery coaches in Cumberland County, and we will be going over rule number 3. Any other announcements for this week, guys? Young lady.
Yeah. Recovery on Wheels will be out tomorrow at Wendy's from 10 to 2. The Wendy's on 49.
Yes.
Right? Downtown Wendy's.
We might stop by, pay a visit.
Downtown
Bristol, Cumberland County. I'm excited today, guys. I'm really excited. Hopefully we have some people tune in while we get this internet straight. But right now, we're going to discuss, again, rules. We got 5 rules of recovery, and rule number 3 is be completely honest with yourself and everyone in your recovery circle. This is a tough one here. Being completely honest with yourself and with everyone in your recovery circle. All right, so let's look at rule number 3. You want to start, Mr. Daniel?
Sure, why not? I'll do the pleasure. And it reads, an addiction requires lying.
Hey,
Hold on.
You start off like that?
Hold on, did we start off like that? I need to adjust my glasses.
It said an addiction requires lying. Woo!
That's heavy.
That's heavy.
All right, we're going to
Let's go.
continue on. You have to lie about getting your drugs, using it, hiding its consequences, and planning your next relapse.
Wow.
An addiction is full of lying.
Full of lying.
By the time you develop an addiction, lying comes easily to you. After a while, you are so good at lying that you end up lying to yourself.
Uh-oh.
Whoa.
Now that's tough.
That's tough.
It said, he said, after a while, you are so good at lying that you end up lying to yourself. Remember, we're talking about being completely honest. And he started off this particular section and said an addiction requires lying. Wow.
Wow. And, when you think about it, because I want to pause right there.
Yeah, man, that's good.
Karen, because I know, me, myself, when I was in my addiction full-heartedly, I was one of the most conniving guys, manipulative, because I wanted what I wanted at that time, and I don't know, it just, like the article said, it becomes easy because you think that you are fooling everybody, but I was only fooling myself.
Everybody knows.
Everybody looking at this like, look at this
fool.
Who do you think he, because you think you're being slick.
Mm-hmm.
So the article is so profound. All right, we're going to move on. That's why addicts often feel that they don't know who they are. Lost in the sauce.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know who you are. you know, head turned on backwards. We were saying that the other day, said we tell ourselves, yeah, I'm going to get my head right.
Mm-hmm.
When in all actuality, we was
About to die.
we were about to die.
We think that using is going to make us feel better when actually using is putting us in our grave, if you will.
Yeah.
But we lie to ourselves, like it says, after a while you are so good at lying that you end up lying to yourself.
Mm-hmm. And so, the second part, it says, the results of all that lying is that you don't like yourself. You can't look yourself in the mirror. Lying creates a vicious cycle. The more you lie, the less you like yourself, which makes you want to escape your feelings, which leads to more using and more lying. And then, you know, one thing about addiction, for all those who maybe tune in and watching, is that, you know, you may start out with a gateway drug and you may say, well, I got it under control. And, because I used to tell my mom, she used to say, you smell like reefer. You been smoking reefer?
Yeah.
No, I ain't been smoking reefer.
Yeah.
You getting high? You know, that back then, that's back in the 70s lingo, reefer. But y'all got new terms for it. And so, but the only thing about it, it became more and more and more addictive. And with that, I'm leading up to say that, you know, I found myself like every day, man, using drugs, smoking marijuana, or some form of drugs. And so, no matter, like the article said, no matter how I had to get it,
I lied.
I lied just to get it.
So being completely honest, like he was just saying, we talking about being completely honest with yourself and everyone in your recovery circle. When I was addicted to my substance use disorder for the 22 years that I was addicted, I lied all the way through. And it wasn't until I was completely honest, but I was by myself. I was downtown Bristol, I was sitting on the stoop, and I was sitting there and I said, man, I really got to get my life together, man. I just knew that I knew that I didn't know what I was going to do in life, but I knew that how I was living wasn't the end goal for me. Mm-hmm. But like it says, the result of all lying is that you don't like yourself. You can't look yourself in the mirror. Lying creates a vicious cycle. The more you lie, the less you like yourself, which makes you want to escape your feelings, which lead to more use and more lying. And that's important because sometimes well, I can speak from my perspective. At one point in time, I was such an insecure person from growing up that when I did drugs, it made me feel more outspoken. I was able to speak to girls. I was able to have fun. So I thought that the only way I would be able to do that was when I was using some type of substance. And you fast forward 10 and 15, 20 years later, I speak all the time without a substance. So it's like, man, so all that time I thought I needed something. I was lying to myself thinking the only reason I can speak or do this or talk to someone I had to use. But I started to believe that lie. But eventually it came full circle and it was just trying to keep me away from something that I was called to do.
Yeah, you know that phrase, that term, toe up from the floor up?
Yeah.
That's how I was. I was toe up from the floor up, broke, busted, and disgusted.
Yeah.
And so when I used to look in the mirror, I used to tell myself, man, you look good.
Yeah.
Man, I ain't have a haircut or nothing, but I look good.
Yeah.
You know, I probably ain't washed my face. You know. But it just go to show you, you know, when you look in the mirror, you know, Michael Jackson had a beautiful song, The
Man in the Mirror. Yeah.
And somebody brought that to my attention, you know, The Man in the Mirror. And I didn't really listen to the lyrics, but then somebody said it. I said, you know what that means when you say The Man in the Mirror?
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you look in the mirror, you got to be truthful, honest with yourself.
What you see.
What you see. You know, and so drugs will give you that illusion of that, you know, hey man, you looking good today. I remember Mike was telling me a story. Like, y'all, come on. You
Which
got a lot of
story?
stories, man.
What was it?
You
What
was
was
on
it?
the bus. You was on the bus, man.
Oh yeah, I was telling we're talking about being honest with yourself. And we read in the beginning, again, this handout that we reading, we can give it to you. We got it from Addictions and Recovery website. But it says that you can lie to yourself so much that you start believing the lie. And the story he's talking about, I remember me coming home after being out all night using drugs all night. I said all night, all week using drugs. And I came home and my wife was like, babe, you look terrible. Straight up. She just said, you look really bad. And I said, no, I don't. I look good. The girl on the bus, I just I told my wife, no, I don't. I look good. I said, I was just on the bus with this chick, and she told me you look good. And my wife said, she must be high too. So I was lying to myself, even though I was under the influence of all these drugs. I would not be honest with myself and say that I needed to get help. No matter what pathway you chose, I needed to get help, but it only came when I was honest with myself about my condition.
Yeah.
And sitting there and talking to my wife, and she was straight honest with me, like, you need to get help.
Yeah.
And that's what we're talking about, being completely honest with yourself, everyone in your recovery circle. Because if you're not honest with the people in your circle, I mentor a lot of different individuals. Most of the people I mentor are men. I tell them all the time, I can only mentor you if you're honest with me. Like, don't hide nothing. Don't try to just tell me what the situation is. If I can help you, I can help you. If I can't help you, I can direct you to someone who probably can. So, why am I saying that? Because if you're not completely honest with yourself and the people in your recovery circle, chances are your success is not going to reach the level that you possibly want. You have to be honest. It's very important. And I remember me and Craig got a lot of stories, Miss Karen. I remember he was telling me a story about how at one job he lied about something, right?
Yeah.
He lied about it, and eventually the employer had to let him go.
Yeah.
But come full circle, now we're able to be honest about our life or our past life and still receive something that we used to lie about.
Yeah.
So, you tell a story, man.
Well, basically the story is I went for a job, and I must give it to the guy. The guy was really very honest, and he was very helpful. He was trying his best to help me. And so he gave me, set me up with the application, the interview, and so I fill out the application, but I didn't disclose a certain aspect of the job. And I remember I was somewhere, and I received a phone call, and the person was on the phone and says, "May I speak to Craig Dingle?" I said, "Yeah, I'm speaking. This so and so, and we got your application, and but there was something on here that when we did our research that you left out and you did not disclose on your application." I said, "Yeah." She said, well, sorry, but we cannot hire you. She said, "What do you thought? We weren't gonna find that out?" I said, "Oh."
I was hoping.
I was hoping that. See, but that goes to show you, even in our stage of trying to think that we're being slick,
It don't
truth,
work.
Right, the truth will reveal itself, and so from that was a lesson learned that from now on, whether it hurt me or not, my background and all that.
Be honest.
Be honest. That's
No matter what you are or what the situation is, be honest. I got another story. He right, I got a lot. Listen, I remember one time I was holding something back, or something that I was thinking about, and it was basically keeping me in bondage because I didn't want to tell my wife that I did it. So I was constantly saying, Dad, man, this is bothering me. So I have a spiritual foundation, so the God of my understanding was telling me to tell my wife. And I said, no, I'm not doing that. That's not happening. It's not happening. It's not happening. I'm not telling her. I'm writing it out. But this is the funny thing. I didn't want to be honest about this situation. However, I mustered up the courage to be honest about the situation. Do you know, for years I was keeping it away from my wife, and when I told my wife about it, my wife responded with, I already know about that.
Yeah.
I said, hold on. She said, I've been knew about it.
Yeah.
So sometimes we don't be honest about things we're going through when the people who are connected to us already know. So being honest is a good place to be in because it can help in your recovery walk. It can help in your life. And again, this is when we're dealing with Capital Recovery Center. When we're doing these live videos, we focus on the areas of recovery, but we also give things that you can apply to your life universally or all over. You can use it in your life. Just like I was saying, my wife never had a substance use disorder, but she knew that honesty will get me further than me lying. So it works all the way on the board.
Carlita says, honesty breaks cycle of shame.
Nice. Thanks, Carlita. That's my friend Carlita from, from NEDAC.
Oh, well. How you doing, Carlita?
Yeah, she's awesome. She's awesome. She's a firecracker. She's always on fire. That's like me. So yeah, that does break. When you honest like that, it breaks things down. It breaks down barriers. It breaks down walls. It just opens the door. And I'm not gonna say it's easy at first, because I used to be like, nah, I can't. I gotta lie. I gotta lie. And sometimes I've noticed when I tell the truth, I see the fruit from me being honest, and it enables me to build a standard. Now I have a standard that we grow into having a standard that, are you kidding me? I remember one time at something happened at a previous job. One person said this, and they said that I did this. My boss said, you lying, to the person. And they say, how? How you going to just say I'm lying? Say, because I know his standard. He won't do that. And that because I developed a characteristic, if you will, about being honest. And in recovery, you're going to have to be honest with people, because nobody can truly help you if you're giving them partial truth, or what they call white lies, whatever that is.
Well, half truth, if you want to, well, that's what they say, but whatever color it is, line is line. So we're going to leave it at that, right?
Well, lying is also a form of avoidance. So.
Woo!
Come on, break it down.
I'm going to use that. I'm going to give her credit the first time. After that, I came up with it. Listen, lying is a form of avoidance.
Whether you're avoiding reality or yourself or whatever you're going in, like what's going on in your head.
Yeah.
You're creating lies.
And my wife, she always tell me, she said, regardless of what it is, tell the truth. Right. Whether it's going to bring out hurt, shame, or whatever, you can move on from it. Yeah. But if you don't tell the truth, then there's no trust. Who's going to trust you when you always lying? So.
Also because another thing that like he made me remind me of something. My wife always says too. She says, I'd rather, like you said, if it hurts or whatever, I'd rather you tell me than somebody else come tell me.
From the outside. From
the outside. Say, this happened, this, that. She said, I'd rather you be the one that tell me. So she's basically saying honesty is the best key. And this is what we're talking about, being completely honest, not only with yourself, but everybody in your recovery circle. If you're struggling with this particular area, be honest about it. If you need help in this area, be honest about it. If you're not confident or you feel insecure about certain things in your recovery walk, simply be honest about it. Here at Capital Recovery Center, we do what we call as RMPs, which is a recovery management plan. And when we go through this particular plan, the purpose of the plan is to help you in areas that you consider to be a real high area that you need help with, finances, housing, or whatever, in whatever order you need help with. But if you're not honest, about it and say, I don't need help with my bills. My bills is okay. Then we won't find services that can help with that particular area. However, if you're honest about it with yourself and with us, because we are the recovery coaches that's trying to help you maintain your sobriety, then we're able to better assist you with services that we have available at our agency.
Someone else, man? Any more
comments? If y'all got any questions or comments, y'all can say what y'all need. We can read it and we can discuss it. If y'all have any concerns, anything y'all got out there, y'all can always participate with us. We enjoy that. Yeah. Next, it says recovery requires, what's we there? Nothing changes if nothing changes. Thanks. Ask yourself, will more lying, more isolating, and more of the same make you feel better? The expression in AA is nothing changes. Excuse me. If nothing changes. If you don't change your life, then why would the time be any different? You need to create a new life where it's easier not to use. Man, I love that term. I love that phrase. Create a life where it's easier not to use. What that looks like, because I learned it from my mentor, I always heard it, but where you make it easier not to use the people who I have in my circle now, today, right? If I go around them and start to use something, they gonna look at me like, man, what you doing? So I made my life where it's easier not to use. If I'm still hanging with all the people that I used to use and all that, then if you use around that crowd, they gonna say, okay, pass it.
Definitely what they're gonna say.
So you have to find a way to make it easier where it's easier not for you to use. And that only comes by developing a support network. Some type of support system.
The expression in AA is nothing changes. Nothing changes if nothing changes. And that's so profound. It may sound simple, like a simple phrase or simple statement, but in all actuality, your external condition will not change unless your internal mindset changes. And so I used to facilitate a group called Thinking for Change. And that was some of the things that we used to work on, changing our thought and our perception of how we view things, and so that we have a better outlook on everything that goes on, not only internally, but externally as well. And so that just from the cognitive perspective of ABCs. And that's a module that we used to go over called external. No, A stand for the, oh boy.
Come on, it's okay. Listen, wait, Google it. But listen, you got it?
Yeah. So A stands for the abstract things that go on around you. B is your belief, your thinking, and C is the consequences.
A, B, C. That's good stuff, right, man? That's our professor right there. That's what we call a professor.
Yeah, so always try to change your way of thinking so that you bring about a better result in your life. All right, enough said on that. We want to move on.
You want to take the next one, Karen?
Yeah, it's recovery, right?
Yes.
Recovery requires complete honesty. You must be 100% honest with the people in your recovery circle. If you can't be completely honest with them, you won't do well in recovery.
That's a profound statement. That's a profound sentence. It says you must be 100% honest with the people in your recovery circle. That's what I was saying. If I'm going to be able to assist you, I need you to be honest with me. Now, the thing about honesty, a lot of times we say it's hard for me to trust you, trust people, and I always hear that, and I say, but just think about the person that you purchased your drugs from. You knew some of them. You didn't know all of them. But if you were able to, if they had what you needed, you didn't build trust with them before you purchased it. You just said, you got it, I got the money, let me get it. Some of the people you knew, some of the people you just simply trusted that what they was going to give you was going to give you the fulfillment that you was after. And also, a lot of times when we say, I can't be completely honest with you, it's because I don't trust you. Again, most of the times, if you're familiar with a doctor, you go to the doctor. If the doctor came in there, no matter if you see the doctor, 1 month, 2 months, or 6 years. If he come in there and say, here, throw this robe on, I'll be back. You take all your clothes off, put on the robe, and wait for him to come back. You didn't build no relationship. You possibly have, but not all the time. And that's just showing that you have the ability to trust people so you can be honest with people. And if you want to be, it says, if you can't be completely honest with the people in your recovery circle, you won't do well in recovery. And that's just, it's proof that you have to be honest no matter what.
You have to be honest. You know, I was in a TC program, Mike and Karen.
What's TC?
Oh, I keep forgetting. Therapeutic community. Listen, sometimes I have senior moments, and so, you know,
we're
like
a team.
today, but we're a team, we helping one another out. But however, I used to be in the therapeutic community, and I hear guys say, man, I'm just here faking it till I make it. You know, so they wasn't being truthful about the whole process of trying to learn or do better. And I used to sit there and say, man, I don't want to incorporate that into my lingo. I'm just going to fake it till I make it. I want to make it. I don't want to just fake it, you know. And so that's what, when you're lying to yourself, you're going to fake the funk or fake your decision, everything you're going to do.
If you have a problem being honest with yourself at this time, don't feel discouraged and don't beat yourself down. You have to start somewhere. And no matter what area you find yourself in, if you know that you're not completely honest with your sponsor, your recovery, your mentors, your spiritual advisors, whomever they may be or whatever terminology you may use, start somewhere about being honest about your situation and just trust the process. That's all. That's my word for the day. Trust the process.
Trust the process.
All right, let's move.
Let's move right along.
When you're completely honest, you don't give your addiction room to hide. When you lie, you leave the door open to relapse.
This is so profound. Again, I go back to when I was I'm going to say addicted to COVID. When I was fighting, battling, going through the struggle of being sick with the COVID-19 virus. It says when you are completely honest, you don't give your addiction room to hide. When I was going through the situation, the experience, cancel somebody. The experience that I associated with COVID-19 was me withdrawing from heroin. However, it didn't matter what I was experiencing. I simply went and told my wife that this reminded me of my withdrawal from heroin. She just read, when you are completely honest, you don't give your addiction room to hide. So when I told my wife that, she's a spiritual person. She started praying. She instantly started praying and rebuking that situation. However, when I was honest with her, I eliminated or I stopped the addiction from hiding in my thoughts. Like, you're right, you are withdrawing from heroin. Won't you go get some heroin? You know what I mean? So that's how it probably would have played out if I was not honest. Tell someone that these are the thoughts, like he was saying about the ABCs. I had to change that.
It's about fixing yourself.
Whoa.
Stick with your own recovery. Focusing on what you don't like about others is easy because it deflects attention from yourself.
Whoa.
Yeah. Takes attention off yourself. That happens a lot. You ever hear somebody and they talking and they try to get real loud? Mm-hmm. Yeah, they trying to. It's called projecting. I gotta get this off of me. Yeah, that's what that is. But that doesn't help you. That just takes the attention off of you.
Yeah.
And then honesty won't come naturally in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
You've spent so much time learning how to lie that telling the truth, no matter how good it is for you, won't feel natural. You'll have to practice telling the truth a few hundred times before it becomes a little easier. In the beginning, you'll have to stop yourself as you're telling a story and say, now that I think of it, it was more like this.
And you have to practice telling the truth. I was saying that it doesn't come easy. You have to practice telling the truth, and it just is. You have to start somewhere. Just start with yourself. Always start with yourself. You know you can't eat that donut. Stop. You know, you gotta just you have to find somewhere to start practicing telling the truth. The doctor said don't eat this. The doctor said don't do this. Start practicing somewhere, and then you think about it. You will grow into it. It's something that you have to grow into.
Yeah, and also Mike was sharing another story with me. I tell you, Mike, he got a lot of stories. But however, he was participating in something early this morning, and one guy he came up. You want to share that with the audience, Mike?
He said that he haven't used heroin in 3 years.
3 years.
And then he said, I'm still using meth. I'm still doing meth.
Right.
So it's like he said he stopped using one thing, but he's still doing the other. So
basically, what he's doing is changing one addiction for another.
Yeah.
And so,
like this is better than that.
Right. So there's no, I used to be in jail with guys, and they used to say, "Man, I ain't no dope fiend. I don't, sniff dope." But yet, you still in the same jail cell with the person that
did it.
That does sniff dope. So that don't make you no better
at all.
Or a person might say, "Well, I didn't inject dope into my veins.
I snort. Yeah.
I just only sniffed it." However you used it, you consumed it.
It doesn't even matter. You got to be honest with yourself.
You got to be honest. So, no matter what, tell the truth and shame the devil.
I know that's right. Be completely honest. This is rule number 2, and we were talking about the 5 rules of recovery, and this is rule number 3. Rule number 1 was change your life so that it's easier not to use. Rule number 2 is ask for help and develop a recovery circle. Rule number 3 is be completely honest with yourself and everyone in your recovery circle. And next Tuesday will be rule number 4, which is practice self-care. And again, my name is Michael Williams Jr. I'm glad to be here, and I'm glad you tuned into Coffee and Conversation. We will see you guys next week.
So long. And my name is Craig. Nice being with you today. Hope you got something out of it. Enjoy.
Enjoy, you guys. Good stuff, y'all. Good stuff as always.